Hello everyone. Today we are doing a seminar, which is during the International Contemporary Festival Circulația that is happening in Lithuania. And also this seminar is in the framework of a Baltic Nordic think tank, some of our circles, in which we collect artists and presenters from the field to speak about the topics that really matter to us. Most of us are from the circus field, and the topics that we decided to tackle this year is diversities, because we have the word diversity in a very stereotype way of color, of accessibility, but also we understood that we have cultural diversities and financial diversities and context diversities. And the second topic is the relationship between artists and presenters, because it's a market that we participate. And that is why we invited amazing people from the Palestinian Circus School to talk about actually both what it means to have a relationship between artists and presenters when you have a very different context from our social bubble or our Baltic Nordic bubble, and also what it means for you to have what does the word diversities mean, and what differences of contexts you tackle in your practice. So the structure of this seminar is, first we will get to know the Palestinian Circus School, the context, and then the second part, which is the most active, is questions and answers. So you can ask the speakers questions either here in person or during in the comment section in the Facebook Live that you watch. And we will try to vocalize most of them. All of them, we'll try all of them, but we'll see. If it floods, then what happens, happens. So, today we have the founder of the school, Shadi, hello. And your previous student, now person of many hands and hats, Noor. So very welcome, and I'm shutting up and giving you the microphone, and you can say, and I will be with the slides.
Hello. First of all, thank you for inviting us to Lithuania and to be part of this amazing festival. And for us, it's important as a space like to share what we do, like with the people. And yeah, so we are happy to be here. My name is Noor. I come from the Palestinian Circus School. I'm an artist and trainer, and I do some other stuff also at the circus school. I joined 14 years ago the circus school as a student, and yeah, I was from the first students long time ago. Today I'm yeah, part of the team of the circus school.
And hello, everyone. Thanks for this invitation, and for us doing such a talk and Q&A is also a part of building awareness, because I believe first artists, if they want to be a good artist, they have to be with a very open eye, especially where they come from and where they are heading to. If we don't realize those conflicts, it's a bit hard to be just an artist for the beauty of the art. So therefore, I come from a theater background, first of all, as an actor and director, and then I decided to establish the circus school in 2006, and my name is Shadi.
So we're having small presentation. It talks about like different topics, but before we start, we said we prepared like some little slides about the situation in Palestine, and we believe that before going like into the circus field, we should understand a little bit the background, like where we come from, and the context in Palestine, which is different from other places in the world, like different than Europe, different than Africa, different than other places. So there are like a little facts that maybe I would like to say shortly. Please, can you take the first slide?
Yes.
Okay. So in general, the Palestinian community is a young community as a population. As we see here, there are like around 44% of the population in Palestinian population are below 18. So it's a young society. And the major challenges that these category face mainly, which is like the children and youth, like in Palestine, we try to conclude them in 5 points so we get to understand a little bit the context in Palestine. So first thing is the right to survival. Right to survival in Palestine, as we may know, like maybe some of you know, Palestine, it's under Israeli occupation. So it's an occupied country. There is no independence like in Palestine. And the children and youth in Palestine face a lot of direct confrontation with the army during going to schools, during like passing military checkpoints between cities, during traveling outside and inside like Palestine. So there are a presence of Israeli occupation army on the Palestinian land. And the right to survival, it's for children and youth mainly, it's one of the basic human rights that everybody deserves to have the right to be alive, to live. And like since 2000, there is a little statistics that more than 2,200 children were killed in the past like 22 years, like in Palestine. Most of them by like direct killing by an Israeli army. So it's something that in the community, it's something common that you always hear, like every couple of days that someone were killed. And just 2 days ago, there was an invasion of an Israeli army coming to a village near Ramallah, and there is a 2-year-old boy like was shot. His father was carrying him, like getting into the house running. Then suddenly he arrived like he was shot, and this was like 2 days ago. So mainly, if we want like make it like closer, every 4 to 5 days, like during the past 20 years, like a child was killed in Palestine. The second thing is the right to freedom. Of course, freedom also is one of the basic human rights that everybody has the right to be free. And freedom, it talks about on different levels. First thing is the geographical aspects. In Palestine, it's between all cities, like in the West Bank, because before that, sorry. In Palestine now, which is considered like by the UN as a two-state solution, like what considered Palestine by the international law is the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and Jerusalem. And all these areas are disconnected geographically, and there are like people from West Bank, for example, I can't go to Jerusalem. Shadi is from Jerusalem, he's not allowed to go to Gaza. Gaza is the same way. So the presence of Palestinians in Palestine, they are disconnected, and they can't reach like the other locations in Palestine. Plus also the Palestinians who lives outside of Palestine, which are refugees. There are around 6 million refugees Palestinians lives all around the world, and they don't have even the right to come to Palestine. So they've been refugees since 1948, and they don't have the right to come to Palestine. So in general, the community is divided by the occupation, and it's really separate areas. The other thing is the freedom also of speech, like to be critic and to talk about whatever you want to talk about. There is no space like in Palestine for being open and to criticize or to be clear about occupation. And that's why there are like hundreds of political prisoners in Palestine, where they can be in prison only for a Facebook post, or they can be in prison for an article they write, or they can be in prison for having a meeting or seminar talks about something. So this is also something that people in general, youth, face in Palestine, that they don't have a space for like to express themselves. Third thing is protection from violence. And violence in Palestine, due to the political situation and the occupation, it's something that's happening in the streets. So violence is very common in the Palestinian street. And on the other side, this affects the families, where you have violence like and abuse like inside the families, at schools, in the streets. So in general, there is a lot of violence like in many places where there are no control, like even from like the schools or at home or the streets, because also due to the lack of safety in many of these places. And lastly, it's the education, the quality of education. In Palestine, it's the education is very like weak as a government. The government is not taking really like putting an efforts like towards having a better education in like for children in Palestine. And this is because of several reasons. Mainly, it's because of the occupation that has like sometimes physical limits and checkpoints that doesn't allow people from villages to reach sometimes the schools, or all there are many schools like in Bedouin communities where they demolish them like regularly. Like last month we had a show in a school that was demolished by the Israeli army, and this school was built funded by the EU, by the European Union. They built the school, and was I think the seventh or the eighth time where they demolished the school, because there are many places like far from the centers of the cities in Palestine, several villages like Bedouin communities and some places like a little bit far from urban centers, where they don't have access like to go to far school. So they build schools, and Israel controls that lands, the Palestinian lands. So they don't let them they don't give them permissions to build it, which is on Palestinian land. So every time, it gets built, then destroyed again, and it's been happening like this since years. So this is something that regularly happens that affects the quality of education in many places. Some places easier than other places. Lastly is the education of life skills. And this is also not only limited to Palestine. We think that this is an international issue where we believe in the formal education system in the schools. We don't learn the life skills needed like when you finish school. It's very theoretical, and it lacks a lot of principles and values like communication, how to present yourself, and how to work together, how to be how to work in a teams. So this is something that we don't have these values at schools, and that's why there are many organizations, especially arts organization, that taking initiative and roles of teaching and passing these things. For example, the circus school where we come from, we work a lot on team building and how to cooperate together, how to work together to achieve something, instead of only working alone, studying alone, being better than other people. So we try to pass the values of cooperation and teamwork instead of competition and to be better than other people. So this is mainly main challenges that most of the Palestinian youth and children face in Palestine. And with this context, we can go to the next slide and go to the more in details to the circus school. And as we see here, why a circus in Palestine? I will start, and if you want to elaborate on anything, Shadi, just let me know. So in 2006, Shadi Zmurrud, this guy sitting here, he had a crazy idea to establish a circus school in Palestine. And circus as an art in Palestine didn't exist before. So it's not something like theater or music or dance. We had all these art forms from part of the heritage from long time ago. Circus, something new. So there is no infrastructure for circus. There is no equipment, and people don't know what circus is, because what we know about circus is big tents, animals. This is what we see on TV. But to have a circus in Palestine, of course, it's not the same. It should be something different. So the idea started from Shadi Zmurrud and his wife, Jessica Devligre, where they decided to establish a circus school in Palestine, and to be in the future a Palestinian circus school with a Palestinian team, with Palestinian artists, Palestinian trainers that can be sustainable. Because in the beginning, always circus shows in Palestine were by foreigners and companies, where they come to Palestine, perform, they leave. Another companies come to Palestine, perform, give workshops, and they leave. So there is nothing sustainable. And plus the restrictions of coming in and out, also for foreigners to Palestine, is hard. So the idea started in 2006, when Shadi started this. I was from the first students who joined at that time, just by chance, to discover what is circus. And I remember first day when Shadi came and explained us that we established a circus school in Ramallah. I'm from another city in Jenin, and we want to open a new circus course if you want to register. So I was looking me and my friends so okay, what is circus? Do you have a tent? He said no. He said, do you have animals? He said no, we don't. It's another kind of circus. So then we said, okay, so what it is? He started to explain that, we do acrobatics, juggling, how to create a show, to work together and stuff like this. We didn't get it also. What is it? He said some stuff at that time. We said, okay, we just try out of curiosity. So I joined, me with my other friends. And we took a course for 2 months, and that course was mainly juggling and acrobatics, but has a lot of exercise about communication, like group work, physical communication, which things that we didn't use to it. Like it wasn't easy to be connected to someone physically. It's not something we have experienced before. And even like trust games, eye contact. So many of these things that were in the circus were like a new thing. And at the end of that course, we established, we made like a small show. We presented to our families and friends. And that was the start. So from there, like it was like small group until we reached today, we have around 350 students all over Palestine. So as we said, like after it started, there was the motivation in the beginning was to have a circus school run by Palestinians so it can be sustainable in the community where like the teachers and performers are Palestinians and they can pass this experience to Palestinian children. Because of course, even like if there are like any like experts or professional artists or come to Palestine, they're still away from the context that circus in Palestine, for example, it's not as circus, for example, in Lithuania, not as circus in the USA. Each place has its like its environment, its own identity, and the needs are different. We believe that circus is important to everyone. Everyone needs like these kind of things, but each place has its circumstances where it has also its own way and tools. Yes, you can continue. We have some little photos from 10, 15 years ago. This place is in Bir Zayt, where is the current location of the Palestinian Circus School. When Shadi started the circus school, they were moving like always from a place to another until finally we found this place. And this is an old building, like more than 100 years old. And then we renovated this place in 2011. And since then, this is the main location of the Palestinian Circus School. So this is how it looked like before getting it. Then we work with all the students, everyone, teamwork to clean the place. And finally, also we got a tent that next to the building. So now we have a really good place equipped like with many circus disciplines where it offers like a safe space for hundreds of children and youth where they come to use this space. Before I'm going to main programs, do you want to add anything, Shadi? No. All is good.
I'm just trying. Of you.
So I'll go more now into like small presentation about like the circus school, how we work in Palestine, and from that on we can go on. So we work mainly in Palestine in 2 dimensions. We have the educational programs and we have the artistic programs. The educational programs, we work mainly in we have 4 main programs. First thing, we have the children programs, where we work with children from 5 years old on until 14. This is most of students we have in this age, and we work in different locations in Palestine. And we use social circus methods to work with children. So the idea is not to establish like a professional circus artist where they can, compete or the idea is to use the circus as a tool to achieve like teamwork and trust and to enhance their creativity and communication between them, to be a constructive people in the community. And of course, we're using like circus skills and techniques to achieve that. So we aim also to develop them technically and socially. Second thing, and we have in this around 300 students in different locations in the West Bank in 5 main locations. Second thing, we have a social programs. We have 2 main programs where we work with one program that we work with women. So we work with on a weekly basis with several centers with our partners where we work with women like from above 18, where we introduce a lot of circus games and exercises and basic circus techniques for them to use them as a tool, like to stay away from home a little bit, to have like some joy and fun, and something also that they can maybe share with their children at home, because like even like at schools and in many places in Palestine, there is a lack of like centers or places where children can go to, and especially the mothers. The mothers, like not everyone works. Mainly in villages, most of women don't work. They stay at home working with the children. So it's important that they have a place away from home, away from the everyday responsibilities from like cooking and cleaning, taking care of the children, to be away like for an hour or two to do something different, to move their bodies and stuff like this. The second program is we work with people with mental disabilities. So we work with two centers and we have two groups where we work with around 40 students, mainly Down syndrome. And the idea is to prepare them to be an artist where they can produce shows and share with the audience. And working like with these two groups, it started like around 7-8 years ago, and it takes time and energy and a lot of constant, a lot of continuity in the work to be able for them to feel confident to show something, because we don't want to work like with the people with mental disabilities just to do anything and people will clap for them because they are like disabled. We want them like people to clap for them and to applause for them because of their art and thing. And this takes years. And only last year, after like 7 years of working with these groups, they started like last year to perform, to have a small shows, presentations where we introduced them to audience. And because we felt they are ready now to do it. And it's a long journey, but it's something also that we work on the long term with it. So it's not easy to see like a fast results. This needs like years until we see results. And we started to see it from now. Last year, we had a show made by the group, and it's a 15-minute show. There are 10 artists where they work on a show, and they started to participate in local events in Palestine. So they go perform their show, and it's the first of its thing in Palestine, like to be like a full like people with disabilities to have their own show and to be independent and to be paid for their shows also economically. The third thing is in our program we work with the outreach. So we work in 5 main locations in the West Bank and Jerusalem, and we work with local partners. So in each place we established a circus club, part of another organization's programs, and we work to establish a circus club there, to have children from that area, and to have trainers where we work with them on TOT trainings. So we work with trainers, potential trainers to become a trainer and to teach in their locations. So we work now, there are 5 circus locations in Palestine, other than the main place in Bir Zayt and Ramallah, where it's independent circus clubs, where they have like trainers from the community and children in each place where they work. And lastly is the TOT program, which is connected to the community and outreach, where we work every year with 20 assistant trainers. So we have a yearly program for people, circus artists, to become trainers. And these people, they take these trainings and we follow up with them, and then they go back to their communities and they teach in the circus centers we've opened. The second part is, we'll have some photos now. You can pass. So these are photos from different locations, from different, this is a girls' center, like where we work with women.
If we go back to this photo, just adding on what Noor said, as well in Palestine, it's more traditional society. So it's hard to, the woman normally, her job is in the kitchen, in the house, baby factory, blah, 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 blah. It was here probably 50 years ago, or 20 or 30 years ago, then things develops. So with this group, it's the Girls Rehabilitation Center in Jenin. It was the challenge how to start working with them. When we talked to them the first day, they were just looking on the floor. They don't look to our eyes. There is no eye contact. So it was like, I'm here, look at me from inside. Appreciate my driving 2 hours to come to teach you. but of course, this is a part of the society that we are looking and working to change. So we always say, from everywhere in the world, you would learn. Even though Palestine is now almost in the summer, 17 years old will be the circus school, and we can still teach a lot. on this photo, the girls on the rope, imagine how you, as a trainer, you want to teach a girl how to walk on the rope without catching her hand. As a first exam, and the first time she goes on the rope, it's hard to let other student catching her hand because you have to explain everything on how to walk on the rope. So we found different ways until we arrived to this photo where we, as well, we let other girls be the assistant for those girls. One thing. We can jump to the second photo. And the idea of working with people with handicapped, as agreed in Palestine to be called. This is the legal way to call them handicapped and not disabilities, because we are all there is for all of us a need for an ability. So if we give them this ability, they are still, no, they are called in Palestine, the legal term is handicapped. The idea started when I was doing the research before establishing the circus school. I went to one hospital in Ramallah and talking to the kids there who had illnesses and handicaps and so on. And one of the kids, 13, 14 years old, I told him, have you seen circus before? He said, no. And then I told him, okay, I will show you something. So I took 3 balls from my bag and I started juggle. And I told him, would you like to try? And then he said, and he started to get up off from his bed. But when he was covered until here, and when he was almost sitting, the thing dropped off and he had no arms. And you, as an adult, or as an artist, or as anyone who works in culture or psychosocial or whatever, you only have second to react and to show that this is still, we can challenge it and we can go over it. I told him, get up of bed, we can do juggling. So we start, I had those softballs that we could juggle with the feet, throwing it, catching it, throwing it, catch it to the other leg. And he lost his hands due to the Israeli war on Gaza in 2004. So this stayed in my mind when the establishment process was going on until we reached to this amazing output that Noor just mentioned, that they are now able as well to be artists on stage. This is in their open days.
This is the graduation of the students. Okay, so the second program we have are the artistic programs, and we work mainly into 3 categories. First thing is the capacity development, where we work with artists, freelance artists, and our students who want to become like a professional or a semi-professional circus artist, where we try to provide a lot of capacity building workshops, master classes, bringing experts from Europe, from around the world to Palestine, sending people also abroad to be exposed to other experiences and a new experience. And of course, with these artists, we work on creations. So all our shows that we work at the circus school, we make a lot of research when we want to create something. So the artists who want to create a show, they gather together, they research something, they decide what they want to talk about, and they choose something. So most of our shows that we work at the circus school, it has a theme or a topic or a message that we can share with the audience. So it's not an entertaining art where we do like skills and like techniques. It's always, we use all the techniques and things, the skills we have as an artist to show something. And we believe that it's our role to share, to raise awareness or to share certain stories through what we can do, which is circus art. And in the productions, always we have, it has a topics, either political or social or economical topics that we talk about. And this comes always from the artist. So each group, they want to create a show, the artists decide what they want to talk about, and we as a circus school support like this process by like artistic support, technical support, and anything needed, what we can do. And here we have a little video. Actually, I'm showing now a trailer for Sarab show. Actually, this is the show that we are participating in festival here, and we have a show, 3 shows left, like still tomorrow, the day after, and the day after here in Kaunas. So if you are in Kaunas, if you are around, please come to see the show. This show, before we go, it's called Sarab, and it talks about the plight of refugees worldwide. Being refugee is something universal. It's something that used to happen like since thousands of years ago. Until today, it's happening. And we as Palestinians, we have experienced being refugees in 1948. When Israel as a country was established, it was established on many destroyed Palestinian villages where Palestinians at that time became refugees and they fled to other countries. That's why there are now like 6 million refugees in many countries around Palestine, mainly in Syria, Jordan, and Lebanon, where they were kicked out in 1948 to that country, to other countries, and they don't have the right to come back again to Palestine. This is what we mentioned earlier. So the show talks about several stories from different times, from different locations, different people. But at the end, when we were researching these stories, it's all the same. It's different circumstances, different times, but at the end it's the same, being refugee. You are kicked out, you wish to reach for something, you are looking for hope or looking for safety or looking for something else, and at the end we don't know how it ends. Most of it, it's not the happy endings of being refugee. So this show talks about being refugee and the repetition of it through history. So this is what we are performing in this festival, and we can share with you the trailer. It's a short 1-minute video. We have no sound here.
Nowhere was safe. We were like people without hope. It was 16th of April. I lived, they died.
Thank you, Gildas. So if you are around in Kaunas, please, you can follow the Facebook page where it's streaming right now. You can check the dates and times and location. Third thing that we do in our artistic programs is the festival. And we started, we did our first international circus festival in Palestine in 2016, and we did the second edition in 2018. And since then, actually, we had many challenges. COVID came, plus the political situation escalated in Palestine. And since then, we are not able actually to organize it again, the festival. But it's on the list. Hopefully next year, we try to get back with the festival. So I have also another video, short one. Also, yes, it's a short video about the festival. And in this festival, there was many international companies from all over the world participating in Palestine. We had
Actually, as well, Colo Colo, who's performing here, they came to the Moroccan group, also came to our festival. So while you are watching, maybe I will just keep watching and I will just put some input. This festival was very important to boost circus art in Palestine. But we were very crazy where we had too many shows in a very short time, but we reached out to 20,000 people in 9 days. So that gave us the ability to boost circus art in Palestine. Because when we established the circus school, we were obliged to do the 2 circles together. We were obliged to teach in order to perform and to perform in order to teach. Because how do we get students? We have to show them something, but how can we show them something without being trained? So this circle was very important in starting the circus school. And then when we arrived to the level we said, okay, now we celebrate 10 years of the circus school. At the same time, it's called United for Freedom that we called. We had many companies from Latin America, from Europe, from the Arab countries to join us to as well not only do circus, but at the same time to see how we as Palestinians do circus in Palestine. So for them to put their feet in our shoes and to feel how we live as a Palestinian circus artist in Palestine. By the way, one of the guys who's here now with Kolo Kolo, the Moroccan group, when they were invited, when they came to Palestine, he's and another two of the group, they were interdenied by the Israeli occupation. So they had to rework on their show because Israel refused 3 of the artists to participate in our festival. So you will meet them on stage as well tomorrow and today.
Like in this photo, this is the place when we first get to that building before having a circus tent. This is a handmade Palestinian circus tent with Shadi is the designer of this tent. So this is the first spot. Then we get the tent. We get like yeah.
Good design.
So it's a yeah low cost. So this is part of our shows and activities that we had in several places.
I would just explain, we go back to the first photo. This show called B Orders, which is borders or B and orders. It's to Fadi, one of the establishers of the circus school, and Ashtar, also one of the first students who joined the circus school. So they went and they studied in Italy and in France, and they graduated from there. Then when they lived outside, they get reflected to their own life back in Palestine. So they decided, the two of them, to talk about topics and challenges for them as Palestinians and how they grow up in Palestine, with all orders that you receive from your society, from occupation, and all borders that you also are limited from your own society and from occupation. This show has been toured also here in Lithuania in 2018, and Fedi also gave workshop in Vilnius also in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So the show after this one, it's called أحلام للبيع, means dreams for sale. For me, the circus was a dream, but it was not for sale because I'm a blonde, stubborn Palestinian. So I decided that this dream, I'm gonna be stubborn on it, I'm gonna make it alive. And this is where was the dream of the 4 of them when they said, okay, we would like to do more circus and more circus. And it was a challenge for them to stay in the circus as well, or to take part in the circus, society-wise, financial-wise, and so on. So this show was created, and as you see, we also perform, this is the racist separation Israeli wall that they built, not only between the West Bank and Israel, but as well inside the West Bank, where it separates Palestinians from Palestinians. This is the opening of the festival. It was, I think, 5,000 people in this opening, right?
5,000.
Yeah, about 5,000. It's a huge amphitheater. And this is a French company called XY or XY from France.
Yes, so there is from that show, the French company, they had like a sentence that it's written here that they say at the end of the show that alone you go fast and together we go far. And reflecting on this, we have an event that we try to do annually with our students, which we call it the Unity Human Pyramid, where we bring all our circus students from different locations in Palestine to build a collective human pyramid in one place. And this is, of course, it's the message we have in this is to bring people together, because in Palestine we are very separated based on many political reasons. Like we are different from Gaza, from Jerusalem, and even in Palestine with people abroad. So we did our best to get everyone we can get from the students to build like one human pyramid where we can represent that we can be together. And this is the video of it. So we believe that since the establishment of the idea of the circus school until today, of course, being together, we can do everything. Of course, like group work, it's a value that you need to practice it. And it started actually really from the seeds, like when we just get into the circus, how to work together as a group and we are passing this and expanding this actually in Palestinian community. Because as a Palestinians in our community, we need to be together, like to face all the challenges that we live in. So that's why like circus for us is a tool where we can bring people together in another context, like physically and emotionally, and even like to be thinking like on the same level. And this is a first step to raise awareness and to be able to end the occupation one day. So yeah, that's it. Actually, we're done for our presentation. Hope you get an idea about the context in Palestine, about the circus, and about whatever. Oui, oui. Thank you.
So, can I have one and you would share? Okay, good luck. Yeah, I won't say it. Yeah, so basically, we have heard a lot about the context and diversities, and if I'm not wrong, you are now in charge of the dissemination of your shows, of the artistic program internationally, yes?
Yes, so I work mainly, I teach, I perform still like with the circus school, but my main work is I'm the coordinating the artistic programs at the circus school. So everything has to do with the artist, capacity building, shows, festivals, international participation.
How is how successful would you say, let's talk about now without the moral obstacles and the bureaucratical obstacles, but how many, in general, countries you've visited with your shows, and how do people accept you? Until the bureaucracy and the contracts and the not letting into the to the plane, but generally just the buy and sell. How do you find it?
Actually, like almost every year we participate like in several participation in different places, mainly in Europe. Like Europe is actually one of the easiest spots actually for Palestinians to travel. For example, in our region, in Palestine, all the countries around Palestine, in the Middle East, it's very hard for us to enter. So because of the political situation in that areas, and because we are under occupation, so there is a lot of limits that we can't visit certain countries. We can't go to Syria, we can't go to Lebanon, unless with really high restrictions. So we are, even as Palestinians, we are disconnected from our like geographical place, like in the Middle East. And that's why most of our shows and our tours are in Europe. We've been once to Jordan, we've been once to Egypt, but that was also like a rare, like to be like in the Arab countries, that we feel also a bit disconnected, like from our reality there because of our like special conditions, which is it gets hard like for certain places like to enter where we are not allowed. So we've been like in many festivals around the world, mainly in Europe, in Lithuania, and Belgium, and France, and in Germany, and Italy, and Spain. So we try as much as we can like to participate in festival and to contact many people, many partners, many of our friends, and to give the chance to the Palestinian artists to be exposed to new experiences in Europe, because in Palestine there are no like there's not many circuses. So circus people, it's a small community. We all know each other. So it's important to see other festivals, to see where contemporary circus reach in the world. So it's hard to bring always international companies to Palestine. There's a lot of challenges by bringing international artists and companies, like when we fest in the festival and what happened with Colo Colo. So for us, it's very important that we give as much as we can opportunities to Palestinian artists to participate in international festivals where they can see other shows, other companies, to be exposed to the big circus life in Europe, because we have a limited circus field in Palestine.
And a question now for Shadi to bring us to the topic, and then I will let you ask. And also now, since it takes time for me to read the comments, so if you're watching, so you can comment now, and I will read it anytime. But you and I were the two that met and made this happen. That's the consequence of our meeting. But because we met absolutely randomly. We didn't plan a meeting, we just talked, and then several years after you were here, thanks God, and I'm really happy.
To us.
And thanks to us. But I was wondering, because we had some very nice connection points, and you're very good in, you have a very strong political position, but you're also always with a smile, which is absolutely mad. And we met in a big festival in Orge. There was 700 professionals. It was the fresh of Circostrada. But I'm interested in the beginning phase, or when you start to talk, do you feel sometimes that especially the European presenters have a bit of a European gaze and don't really understand the context you come from, and they speak in terms that don't apply to your context, or you have your ways around it?
The question is not clear.
The question is not clear. When you start to speak as a representative of the Palestinian Circus School with a festival, a venue that would like to book you, do you sometimes feel in the discussion that they don't completely understand where you come from?
Sometimes the challenges is the challenges that we think of is sometimes face conflict when it comes to reality. Especially, I always say that when Europeans comes to Palestine, they come with the mentality of, yeah, we can change, we change the world, we have did this, we have did this. They come to Palestine and they end up with a slap. What did we do? What happened? What's on? So I've done a lot. Normally, I bring people to the reality, because we can speak so many hours explaining why we cannot do it, why this would not work, why this will conflict with our own values as Palestinians and with our own identity, and we cannot be a part of this. So if I don't bring them to the reality, then they will not understand. Nowadays, it's easy to bring all the entire world closer to our situation, sadly, because of other conflicts that are happening around the world. So that becomes easier, sadly. So that's for us, always has been the conflict. Yeah, plus, of course, the agendas. of European artists or European funding plays a big role against our identity. So at the Circus School, we don't take any funding that has any political agenda or any other agenda that conflicts with our own identity. We
Uh,
say, sorry, we don't need it.
do you want to name, because it's a very specific restriction they put? Do you want to name it?
Well, I would talk. Yeah, for example, the EU. We stopped taking funding from the European Union since 2 years, 1.5 years now, because now it's a conditional funding where they ask us to sign the document where it's against terrorism, but in the document it's mentioned names and also names of political party groups where it's two of the big three political party group in Palestine. That means we will sign against 60% of our population that they are terrorists. So we said no. Those two were elected, one of them were elected democratically in 2005, which is Hamas, the right wing, who's now controlling Gaza. But they were elected democratically, transparently by the people. If you are with or against, it's your problem, but they were elected by the people. So how do you want us as a Palestinian-rooted organization to sign such a document against the elected government? So we said no. At the same time, we had, for example, one of our trainers, Abu Sakha, who has been in administrative detention. Administrative detention, I don't know if you know about it, but it's a English law. Since the English occupation in Palestine, it was being practiced on Palestinians. Then when Israeli occupation occupied Palestine, they took the same. So it's mainly they put people in prison for an unknown reason. So you, if you're in prison, you don't know why you're in your prison. Your lawyer doesn't know why you're in prison. Nothing. And internationally, it's forbidden to do it, unless you are in a wartime and you have to specify the date from this date to this date. I will use it because you are in a wartime. So our colleague were put in prison 3 months, then they renew it another 3 months, so almost 2 years, 21 months exactly. He was in administrative detention. None of us know why. The lawyer doesn't know why. It's called secret file. So also in this document, why I mentioned this story, in this document, a person like him, he's not allowed to receive a salary from the EU because he has been in prison. And until now, since 1967, I don't know between 1948 and 1967 how many people, but from 1967 until today, we had around 120,000 Palestinians in administrative detention, not in prison. So it's a huge amount of people that has been in administrative detention and they don't know why. So we are signing, they want us to sign against the will of our own society. So sorry, Europeans, if you have an idea, please practice it and then tell us what to do. But don't tell us what to do while you are silent against occupation. And this is where we refuse it.
Okay. I think it will be last from me, then you can ask. Maybe, but I can talk with you like for ages. I think it's very important to mention that one of the main reasons for you to travel to other festivals is not only for your artists to see other shows, other context, but also what inspires us a lot is that you use circus as a media to speak about realities that we don't usually get information even about because we have like and we don't know how the algorithm will work with this and the social media and the media, and I don't know if you can trust your TV or trust the European and the US TV for us to get the information, but you use circus to speak about your reality, and especially with Sarab, it's somehow you managed to do it about how do you call it? About a general topic. It's not only your. It is very yours, but it's not only yours. So it resonates. So how when you travel, is it important for you that we, as presenters, would not take a show that, let's say, is more artistic or to present you, but to actually use the festival as a platform to be heard? And how do you use it? And you need a microphone to... I like that you put the microphone just in the middle.
Okay, so this has like, for us, it goes on different levels. First thing is, unfortunately, like in the world today, like most of viral media that we have are censored, and it's not always it shows the reality. It always like shows like a part of the story depends on the political agenda of the media, and also this connected to the political situation to the country where it comes from. So like media, it's not a place where general media, it's not a place where you really get to see everything in a critics, like critically, and to see this is how it's happening. And we see this a lot as Palestinians. When we see the Palestinian news, and if we are in Europe, we hear what we saw the news in Europe, what happens in Palestine, we say, what's happening? Like, is it, you know, like, for example, you see like in the news, a guy throws stones on a military jeep. And they say, yeah, like kids throwing on the police stones, and that's it. But you don't say that there is a big invasion of Israeli army invading the whole city, arresting like hundreds of people. So it's always like a really, like a one side of the story that in most of places we see, unfortunately. And for us, the art and the circus itself as an art, it's a way to communicate with people and to share with people like stories from real people. So it's not like to see it over social media or like in the TV. It's a like one-to-one, like people to people. And this is important also for this. The second thing is that in Palestine, politically, like it's controlled by Israel. So even the Palestinian government can do nothing. The Israeli occupation controls all aspects of political life in Palestine. It controls everything that has to do with the economic, the Palestinian economic. It controls the resources under the ground, the air, all kind of resources, importing, exporting. It controls the borders, where we don't have borders that we can travel from. And so it controls most of aspects of Palestinian life. Art and culture is still the only space in Palestine, which is not controlled like 100% like by the occupation. It's a place where there are freedom for people to express and talk about different things, because it's not something that, let's say, very clear, you know, like on social media, for example, there is every day tens of Palestinian Facebook and Instagram pages get banned by Instagram and by Facebook because they are talking about the reality in Palestine. So even this is censored. But doing circus, like you can't say I will not let you like do circus. I'm doing circus, you know, I'm jumping around, you know, I'm playing with 3 balls.
You never know until now.
Even with this is, yeah, even with this, there are a lot of restrictions on arts and culture, but still it's the only place which is not 100% controlled, that people still have freedom and to share this with people. So there are a lot of, like most of artwork in Palestine somehow connected to political issues that Palestinians face, because you can't really separate like politics from the daily life and other topics in Palestine. It's all connected. So that's why art and culture in Palestine, it's a strong tool that you can share like a lot of ideas and concepts and share your story with people. Hope, يعني, luckily without being, with having less restrictions than, for example, writing a book or trying to do something. So for us, it's a place still with the freedom, not to freedom like we can do whatever, but in freedom for us that we can go through and talk to people and share our stories, our ideas, what we want to talk about in the shows to the people.
You want to add something? I'm trying to read your facial expressions. Do you have questions? Yes, I will give you a microphone.
Thanks. I would like to widen or like open the last question a bit more, or to understand more of like how so far, like since 2006, has it been to start creating it, and like what's been the like what kind of struggles have you faced, or has it been like, oh, I want to make a circus, and then you go, or like, which I don't believe. So what kind of difficulties have you faced, like from the government, and also now that like when you come here, like thinking, or like wherever in Europe, like participating, talking in a seminar like this, or doing the show, what kind of threats do you face because of that, or do you, yeah?
Dun-dun-dun-dum. Well, the challenge, first the challenge started from the reality, from the society. As we said, circus were not seated in Palestine, as Noor said before. It was just international people. We knew circus on TV. So the first group I met from university students in Palestine, I told them, guys, what do you think of establishing a Palestinian circus? And one of the girls was like, what? Do you want us to wear bikini and be on the trapeze? This is completely against the culture. So then we were like, okay. Then I was like thinking how to get over this, because this is the stereotype. This is how we used to see circus on TV. But how can we do circus still having some covered clothes, some respect, some aspect? That was the first thing. Then another friend of mine who were a bit crazy. And he was one of the first supporters for the circus school. He said, what, circus? We're already jumping over the wall and running around and turning upside down. Shadi, we already have a political circus here. And then I was like, yes. But then our real life, the danger that we live jumping over the wall, the checkpoints and so on, this is a dangerous circus, let's call it. It's not, in circus, we teach you how to fall before you learn how to jump. So this is a studied danger that we teach our students to face it before they fall. But the real life is a different a challenge. This is like, as well, a circus, when we talk about boys and girls, one of the locations where we used to work with, we used to it's in Hebron, it's a very conservative city. We used to go there, drive 2 hours, 2.5 hours, sometimes 4 hours, sometimes we never reach, because to go from Ramallah to Hebron, there was checkpoints, and during the years of the second intifada, it was really hard to reach. Sometimes we couldn't reach to their classes, to give classes, because we were sent back. Sometimes the trainers, they have to stop, walk on the mountain, take a donkey with 4 wheels that go over the mountains, then take a taxi, then they shoot at them, and then it was like really dangerous. I had to call many times. Our trainers, they were caught many times, and then I had to call the Israeli occupation army to know where they are, because I didn't hear anything from them. So it was, you never know, you reach or you don't reach, or you come back or you don't come back. So that's why we, in the presentation, we do the locations. We don't wait for people to come to us, because in Palestine it's impossible that people from other cities, other villages comes to you due to the checkpoints and the separation wall. So we say, okay, we go. So this is like mainly was very hard to start with. Plus, to find a location for circus training that is very safe, very high, and they, financially it was like impossible to find something. So the first 3 years it was just like really doing a lot out of nothing. We built our own circus material. We were doing our best to start up this snowball to grow up, but then luckily we were open to a lot of international circus schools and circus artists who came immediately to support us and give us some trainings. That's it for me, I think. I don't know if it's a lot of stories, but I cannot say it all now.
But they're here until Sunday.
Yeah.
And Shadi is very friendly. Do you have any question? I can go on. Yeah, I can enjoy myself. Just speaking, because you speak about a context that is a context of oppression, a context of very different realities, but also you've traveled to a lot of festivals. You are a member of, the school is a member of the network Caravan and also another one, no? FEDEC? No? FEDEC. So you are in the market, like rooted very much. So if, let's say, speaking with you as professionals who I would say establish themselves in very unnourished soil, what suggestions would you have to an artist, a beginner artist that really wants to create art but doesn't know how to be selected, who to connect, where does he start the professional way? Because to create art is one thing, but for it to tour, and this is a question that you have a lot of experience in and very relevant for the Baltic artist. Like, we can create art, but what do we do with it then? And how do we survive? How do we become artists that tour? So what suggestions, steps, or whatever both of you have?
For us, it's a bit hard to really get into the market as well. You really need a company who works for artists to promote them, producers to take their work and really promote it. But on the other time, if you really like this Palestinian Circus School, where we do things related to our stories, to international stories, it's not a normal show that is, it's a circus show. No, there is a story, there is a message, there is a question mark at the end of the show. And for me, that's the important work of any artist. That made as well the shows of the circus school more needed to perform and to be presented in international festivals. It started from the first show that we directed. It was called Circus Behind the Wall, that was presenting our life as Palestinians. How do we live behind the wall? Then this show made the circus school more and more known. But until today, I tell you, not only Palestine, but all artists in all Europe until today, they also face the lack of knowledge. I don't have this knowledge on how to promote your work and how to be also connected and be selected for other festivals. For us, it's harder because the cost is higher and so on. I don't know, Noor, maybe because you've been working on that part now, maybe you can, if you faced any challenges.
Any challenges or no challenges at all?
So regarding this, on the local level in Palestine, now we work with around 40 freelance artists, circus artists, where their passion is in the art. So this is what they want to do as a profession. At the same time, they don't have any connection with the market, with the Palestinian market. So they even don't know, like few of them can apply for some festivals and stuff, but most of them, they do the art, they train. There is no place or platform for them to show their shows. And that's why we have now a network, we call it Pool of Artists, where we work with around 40 artists, Palestinians, and we try to integrate them with the Palestinian market. So we work with them. We try to always offer like capacity building trainings. If there are any workshops, any master classes, we always tell them if there are any chance for auditions for circus shows, even in Palestine or abroad, we always inform them. And even sending volunteers. So we, in the last 3 years, we sent like 6 people to do the European voluntary service, like with circus schools in Europe. So for a year, each one. So we try always to find like resources. As Shadi said, it's not easy to be an artist and to be also to understand with all the applications and the fundraising and all these kind of things. And I think it's not the role of the artist to be informed about all these things, because if you really want to be into the art and if you want to be an artist, you need to study everything around. It's not easy. So that's why with the circus school, we always try to give the opportunity for freelance artists to participate in local shows. And last year in 2000, like from our annual report in 2022, we did in Palestine 99 shows with these 40 artists. So we did 99 shows with these artists locally in Palestine, in villages, refugee camps, festivals, in many occasions. So that we put an effort in this, like locally and internationally. Locally, it's easier because we have our connections. We established our connections, and the infrastructure for circus, it's now more known and stuff. We get a lot of requests for shows now. Like every week, someone calls, yeah, we need a show or something. So this is very good, and it's developing. On the international scale, is harder. There are many possibilities, but also the cost is higher. Like to come from Palestine to go somewhere, it's not like if you are like within Europe. Because also maybe mentioning very fast, like in Palestine, we don't have airports. We used to have airports for the occupation, but now it's called Ben Gurion Airport. It used to be Led Airport before Israel was created. It's a Palestinian airport. Since the occupation, we are not allowed to use any airports in Palestine. So the only way for Palestinians to travel is to go to Jordan. This is how it's agreed to travel. So, and going to Jordan, it's like just crossing the border, but you need to cross first the Palestinian borders, then take a bus like 5 minutes to cross the Israeli borders, then you need to cross the Jordanian borders, then go to the airport in Amman to travel. And this is, if you go direct in half an hour, you cross all these. Sometimes it takes half a day or a day to travel for Palestinians. And this also costs money, like a lot of buses and tax, you pay many taxes like to leave Palestine to be able to travel. The same way on coming back. On top of that, we can only travel during the working Israeli hours. So it's not an open border where you can travel whenever. During the week, they work from 8 to 8. On the weekend, they work only 2 hours, from 8 to 10, on Friday and Saturday. So everyone who's traveling in these 2 days, you have 2 hours. So everyone is waiting 5 hours before they open to travel. So that's why if you have a flight early in the morning or in the middle of the day, you need to go a day before, and you need to stay in Amman, and this is also cost money. You need to book a hotel. That's why when we came, we had a night in Amman to sleep, to be able to catch our flights. So all these restrictions, plus also applying for visas and everything. So these restrictions, it costs money and it costs energy. And it's really not easy decision, I think, like maybe for a festival, like the festival we're here to decide to bring like a company from Palestine. It's easier to bring like other 2 companies from Europe. It might be also like cheaper without all these challenges. So in general, it is, yeah. So this is part of the challenges that sometimes it blocks like our participation from other events, but we try to do our best always. And of course, many people like Gildas and many other festivals around the world where they understand the reality and they put an extra effort like for us to be here, which is we also appreciate your efforts, Gildas.
It's worth it. But since this topic is more about the relationship and diversity, this is what I'm interested. You have so many restrictions. You are not allowed to travel as we do. How? And I see a gap between all the context you said and that you tour all the festivals. What happened in the middle? How do people discover you? Because when we talk randomly, somehow we met and we talked and I understood that it's important. What were the steps for you to be discovered? Because I guess if a festival get to know you, they understand it's important, or inhuman. But how do they discover you in the first place? How do you, because I don't know if everybody knows, maybe now a lot of people know about your school, but how do we discover you?
I have a little comment and then I will
Yeah,
give to
yeah.
Shadi this. Uh, Actually, most of the festivals and our international participations outside, it depends on personal relations. It started like this. Most of, from the beginning, and Shadi was leading this, like it came through our connections. It came, like we received many people. We travel a lot. There is a lot of connection between like friends and supporters that they've been to the circus school, where they open many doors for us, like in Europe. And most of the, so for example, we came here today because you had a chat with Shadi like some time ago, and you discussed and stuff like this. It's very few festivals where we participate, we applied, and we know no one from the festival and stuff. It happened, like, but this is not the majority. The majority really from the connection of supporters and friends and partners that we have, that it grows with the school also. So our all partners, friends, this community, international community, it grows as the circus grows in Palestine. And I would say like Shadi played like a really big role in this. Like
That's what I suspected, that the key is Shadi.
Yes, he is. He is. He is the key. He started it. No, he started it because really most of like how it started to perform. It really depends on like a personal communication with people. It's not like an organization applying for festivals where we just apply like randomly. Now we're trying to systemic this more and to apply for more festivals. But yeah, most of it started with personal relations.
So in first suggestion, you would say invest in personal relationship. Don't be a bad person to people because they're useful.
No, you don't have to be a systematic person. As an artist, you have to be, you are, I always say, be naked as an artist. So be who you are without masks. If we apply to festivals just online, you will not get, for example, this gathering here. We will not get the Q&A after the show. It will be just a very artistic performance. You go, you perform, people clap, they like it, they don't like it. People will talk to you after, people will not talk to you after. But within this talk we had in Osh, and now being here and having the Q&A and understanding all the challenges and difficulties and the background of where we come from and what we're trying to do, not only for Palestinians, but also for humanity in general, this where it takes us further in our communication and being able to reach further together and not only applying, and just go to perform. It doesn't work. And since the establishment of the circus school, as Noor said, there's always a topics, there's always a stories, there's always a question mark, and that gave the Palestinian Circus School its own identity, that we talk about different topics in the Palestinian context and as well international context.
So I hear a lot of the way you deconstruct it as a market. Who did we talk about? Maybe with you, that it's not that it's economy, it's an exchange. Was it with you yesterday?
Yes,
Yeah.
because of the cultural industry, which I think it's a term which doesn't apply at all to culture, because culture is the economy. And if you think about industry, it leads to...
Because then people will not hear you.
Yeah, if you talk about culture as an industry, you are facing it as a product. And I observe that how things are being done and worked, and for the artists as well. And it's very special what you are talking about, the way how you are working your pieces. You have the conscience that you are artists, you make art, but art is not separate from life and from your reality. So it's not, art is not entertainment, or culture is not entertainment. And well, not to say culture, because culture is everything. No, it's like, it's much more, culture is a bigger range, but art is not about, some things are entertainment, but it's much deeper than that. And when we talk about industry, it's a tricky thing because it's an economy, it's an exchange. So like the money, you don't become an artist to earn money. You earn money, so like everybody in any work, because you need money to live, or you exchange, but it's not the objective. You earn money, so what I'm going to do. But now it seems like that you make a show, make another show, make another show, make another show. Shows don't even have time, performances don't even have time to grow, to develop. It's like, so you are like in a machine, doom, 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 in the industry. Come on, cha, 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 go, 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 go. And that's insane. And there is another, I don't know if I can say it now, going on. No, it's something else. But it's about,
I don't know what you plan to say.
No, I think like you are masters in a situation that you can be very soon, I think, with your experience, because it's like that. I think we can listen to you, we can think we know something, but we, at least I don't have a clue of how it is to live like that. And we don't have, we empathize with many, oh, how terrible, and even because we have so many news about so hard realities in the world, and we are watching and we think, oh, how terrible, but we don't have really idea. But I think we are in a moment in humanity, in the world, that we really need to pay attention because we are all at risk of becoming in very wild and terrible situations. So I think you will have more persons together with you, and even you can be the masters for solutions. How do you survive to that? Because we are all coming to a tricky situation, and we need to get together, work together, and be humans together. That's, I think.
I just want to say something about the industry that you mentioned. If we look about art, not so far, let's talk about just the last 40, 50 years. All artists, they had a job, and then they were doing art for art. But sadly, the industrial blah, 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 and the funding and the fund, like to write a proposal and report, who made us that we need to work, perform, write, report, and find and look there. But before we were just doing art for the sake of art. Now we have been lost. And at the circus school, we try to really give this platform for our artists where they can really present what they feel inside of themselves. I used to be an actor. I stopped acting since I established the circus school. Then I had to play with papers. But I'm getting a little bit sick, maybe.
Don't give up.
No, but yeah. So I was doing theater, and then I really stopped working with any written text. I don't believe. I respect every writers, every theater artist, dancers, circus people who work on a written text. But from from my experience working in different countries doing theater, that the most important is to bring those stories that we have inside, what we feel now at this moment as an artist, on stage, on the wall, everywhere. It's more important for humanity, and it catches you more. So in Palestine, we try, and now what Noor mentioned, to have this, the artistic pool, is to give this young, new Palestinian artist the space that they can express and also find their path for the future as an artist, because to be an individual artist, it's impossible in Palestine. People, Palestinian artists, leaving Palestine to find their way outside in Europe, in the States, in other countries, because it's impossible. Freedom of speech in art, it's the biggest. Finding funding, another thing, another thing. So it's really hard. We find all the artists abroad now.
Yeah. And unfortunately, our time is up. You can't imagine, but an hour and a half is gone. You want to add something? You're good? I just want to thank everyone that has been participating here. Only in this room we have Lithuania, Palestine, Brazil, and Estonia. I think I don't want to draw any conclusions. I just want to thank you for being present and sharing your stories, and I think it's super important. And yeah, and I hope that it inspires, and creates something that will evolve into change, because in the end, all we want is to be human and to be respected as human and to create art and circus that all of us love. And that sounded like a conclusion, which I said I won't do. The Palestinian Circus School is in Lithuania, in Circulația, for 3 more days from now. The last show is on Sunday. And also you can contact anybody of the school if you have questions, if you want to collaborate, if you want to open your eyes into a world that is way bigger than our Baltic Nordic context. So thank you very much for everybody, you especially, and yeah, and let's go to circus.